The summer months are for reading. The poolside book, the beach read, staying up way past your bedtime, reading a spooky book in the dark under the covers, the nostalgia. I'm getting excited just thinking about it. And what is getting me even more hyped is that there are tons of awesome books that are coming out this June, July, and August that are going to be perfect for any horror fan and Halloween lover. Also, this is by no means a comprehensive list. These are just the books that I'm really interested in, and there are just 3 for June, one of which is going to be called Tejano Tales to Tell in the Dark by V. Castro. V. Castro is such an interesting author. I like almost all of their books, probably more than I really love certain books, for example, Goddess of Filth. That one was a favorite. The Haunting of Alejandra, that was really good. There's another book that's a short story collection that I really enjoyed, and they've all been adult books. And this is actually going to be her first young adult novel. It's only 132 pages. And to me, when you look at the cover, you think about the title, it's so giving scary stories to tell in the dark. I absolutely love the idea of bringing Mexican and Mexican-American folklore that's more on the spooky side as the center of this story. So things like La Lechuza, La Llorona, werewolves, chupacabra, giant armadillos, they will be taking center stage in these stories. Where are all my werewolf girlies at? On June 24th, we have Run, Werewolf, Run. This book tells the story of a middle-aged father named Clifford Monroe who is having his own little midlife crisis. But he meets a charming stranger, probably the werewolf here, who's named Channing. So he enters his life, and then things get a little bit topsy-turvy. What follows is an insane, blood-spattered adventure that jeopardizes everything Clifford holds dear, including his wife and kids. Interesting to note about this one is that it was actually supposed to be a feature film script originally. The author actually includes over 100 illustrations in this book. I'm not too sure if it's a graphic novel or not. It might be, but he wrote it in 2018, and I don't know if it didn't get picked up or something, but either way, it transformed into a novel. And actually in an interview I read online, they were talking about how this actually was easier for them to communicate the story and to create characterization, because there's obviously things you can do in a novel that you can't really include in the medium of a movie. In that same interview, the author says, "It's just another way to tell the story of Jekyll and Hyde. We repress something primal when we behave like civilized adults. There's a small part of us way down there that could do serious harm to someone, that could kill and maybe even wants to. It's terrifying to think about it, this uncontrollable beast inside all of us, but when you throw that conflict into a suburban setting, it can be really fun to write about." Yes, 100%. There's that contrast between the wild beast, just being freely, authentically who you are, I think is what he's trying to communicate here, and having that be juxtaposed with this conformity that is definitely a suburban element. I mean, you had me at werewolves, but everything else also sounds pretty damn cool. Releasing the same day is The No End House. This one sounds like it'd be perfect for fans of Saw and Hostel. 9 rooms, 9 tests, 1 chance to get out alive. No one makes it to the end of the No End House. I absolutely love the setting for this one. A crumbling stone mansion nestled in the gothic quarter of Barcelona. Yes, Spain, give it to me. It may be the best kept secret in Europe, a little known attraction featuring 9 escape rooms to explore. This one is definitely giving vacation horror vibes, the whole you should have stayed home trope. This book follows a guy who is grieving the death of his wife, and I think it was pretty gruesome. He ends up meeting somebody while he's on his travels in Spain who convinces him to give it a shot, this No End House attraction. The house knows the darkest secrets of this guy, and I think he's probably gonna have to confront them throughout the course of the many puzzles. I love the idea of a house as metaphor for the deeper, parts within us. There's different rooms, different puzzles in this house that Joe, our main character, is gonna have to make his way through if he's actually gonna survive this house, which apparently nobody has. And so I think there might be something here where he's, encountering supernatural horrors, but at the same time, he's working through some really dark rooms in his soul, in his life. Moving along here to July, we have some really awesome reads. Starting off first here with one that sounds so atmospheric, especially based on these reviews that are coming out already on Goodreads, and that is Gravebirds. If the book is anywhere near as beautifully written as this synopsis, I'm gonna fall head over heels in love with it. I'll just read you a little snippet. Gravebirds haunt the cemeteries of Hawthorne, South Carolina, where Spanish moss drips from the trees and southern charm is imbued with lies. We have our main character Hollis, and somehow I think they're able to interact with these birds that are manifestations of the dead's unfinished business. And of course, we have a charming new stranger who arrives to town, and there is a romance, and according to the reviews, it is pretty well executed. Like, gosh, it already has a 4.5 star rating on Goodreads, but I'm sure there's not like too many there, but still, it's a really good sign. The gravebirds begin to show Hollis, our main character, the dead's ugly past from some 25 years ago, so kind of like unearthing of her town's secrets. And she learns all about the horrible things these noble families did to gain their wealth. Ooh, okay. Hollis can't decide if her love interest here is some immortal hand of God, there to expose the sins, or if he's a devil there to ruin them all. One person writes on Goodreads, it's beautifully atmospheric and just the perfect amount of spooky that it's like a chilly hug. Another one here says, the mystery was interesting and kept trying to piece it all together. There were some creep factors thrown in too, where I had some goosebumps of my own. There is a bit of romance. And then we have a Frankenstein retelling. This one is called The Unkillable Frank Lightning. I hadn't heard anything about this book until I started researching for this video, and it sounds like a really fun combination of Frankenstein meets the Wild West. So this book is set in the 1870s. It follows Catherine Coolbridge, who seems like a very strong leading lady, and I mean, you have to be if you're going to be bringing your husband back from the dead. I have no clue what to expect with this one. It seems like something I've never read or come across before, and I think that's really exciting when people have really done so much to Frankenstein. Like, if you're gonna be reimagining the story, you gotta do something different. You gotta do something a little weird. Next, we have a sequel, The Hour of the Pumpkin Queen. Although I didn't really love the first one in this series, Long Live the Pumpkin Queen, it has grown on me in years since. And honestly, I'm dying for anything that brings us back into the world of Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. And it looks like Sally is exploring a whole new town, Time Town, which I have no clue what that would even look like. I'm imagining there's gonna be a lot of clocks. Super cute, cozy, and I am 100% picking this one up in the fall months. Another July release is gonna be We Like It Cherry. This book is a story about identity and the quest for success, splashed with supernatural slasher vibes and the nail-biting relentlessness of survival horror. This one currently has a 4.9 rating on Goodreads, although there's only 12 reviews, but I do think that's a good sign. A lot of the reviews talk about how this book has like a very icy, cold atmosphere to it. So I think this one I'm gonna save for winter. This book follows our main character, Ezra, who is somebody who works and creates a reality TV show, which is really a weird thing you gotta know about me is that I'm not a big fan of reality TV shows. Like, you're hard pressed to find one I'd actually enjoy watching, but I enjoy reading books that take place on or that are about reality TV shows. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. I have no answers. The synopsis here mentions how, you know, there is some exploitative aspects of their job. Our main character seems like somebody who had these like really high aspirations to be this like prestigious journalist, but they only ended up working for a reality TV show that ends up kind of exploiting indigenous cultures all around the world, trying to like pass it as like, you know, travel videos, educational content. And I think you could see where this is all going. Everything changes when Ezra receives an invitation to document the rites of a mysterious, hitherto unknown tribe. That tribe is located in the Arctic, and on their way there, while they're there, yeah, things get a little bloody. Love it. Again, another one here where you should have stayed home and possibly minded your own business. Hopping along here to August, we have 6 books that I am not so patiently awaiting their release. The first one here is actually another sequel, Scarewaves Beyond the Grave by Trevor Henderson. If that name rings a bell, then you're probably familiar with his artwork, and you know, he's also a really great writer. I swear, the original book in this series is probably one of the creepiest, scariest middle grade books I've ever read. I think even adults should be enjoying middle grade picture books, like read literally whatever you want. So in the sequel, they pick up right exactly where the first book left off. You know, there's a new terror in town. There were a lot of questions that were still question marks at the end of the first one. Also, the first book had some really fun, well-produced podcast elements that I hope they also include in this one. And there's illustrations. So I actually listened to this in audiobook format. I kind of regret that. I might actually borrow the physical copy from the library, reread it with the audio, because that podcast element is so well done in preparation for the sequel coming out. Next, we have How to Survive Camping: The Man with No Shadow by Bonnie Quinn. Okay, so if you know anything about this novel, please fill me in. I'm kind of confused. What I know about it is that it originally started as a Reddit no-sleep story. So apparently people on there, hobby writers or like legit writers, they just start posting on there. People start to ask for more and more, and then eventually becomes like a whole ass book. And I'm thinking here that they were able to get like a legitimate like mainstream publishing book deal. I'm just like trying to put the puzzle pieces together because it's a little confusing seeing different things online, but it just sounds like the coziest Summerween read. This book is described as being campy, cozy horror that will appeal to creepy folklore aficionados and spooky story lovers alike. That's me. This book follows a campground manager, Kate, who has dealt with some really dark stuff that has negatively impacted her because of this camp. So basically the whole goal of Kate is like to protect people, to, you know, be a fun sucker if she has to be, if it means it protects people's lives. And I'm not really too sure like how the tone here is gonna be like a cozy horror novel, because it seems pretty intense to me. Next, we have a new book from Jimmy Giuliano, who wrote Dead 11. This one is called 13 Months Haunted. He really loves his retro book covers. I do too. This book has some tech horror elements to it, which is gonna be really fun when you think about the early 2000s setting where, you know, you have the emergence of computers, a lot of people really holding on firm to paper, you know, physical media, all those things, because, you know, I think anytime there's technology that's new, people are going to cling to what they know, what's most familiar, oftentimes rightly so. Like I'm thinking right now about the emergence of like AI and all that stuff and all the questions left unanswered. This book follows a middle school librarian who has a student of theirs who's kind of like their mentee. They are very anti-technology. That student doesn't want to touch a computer, which I find hilarious as a teacher myself. That student befriends a new student to the school. Her name is Avery, and something dark lives inside Avery and it's spreading. The synopsis doesn't sound all that interesting as I'm saying it, but there's something there where I'm like, okay, where is the technological elements that are gonna come through? I think that's what has me interested. And it currently has 45 ratings, 26 reviews on Goodreads with a 4.16 star rating. So it seems like people are liking it. Ooh, I'm so excited for another Isabella Cañas book. This is called The Possession of Alba Diaz. When a demonic presence awakens deep in a Mexican silver mine, the young woman it seizes must turn to the one man she shouldn't trust. I'm so dramatic. This book is set in the 1760s, and I have enjoyed every historical horror novel that this author has put out. There's something about the way that she writes. It's so crystal clear. Like I have everything perfectly imagined in my head as I'm reading. And I find that even before I got into my romance era, I think it's perfectly balanced, the romance and the horror. And it's not like gore horror, it's more like a gothic horror. And it has a 4.2 star rating on Goodreads already with 77 reviews. The library hold is already in. Another spooky middle grade book releasing this summer is gonna be Grin by D.W. Gillespie. This book is full of chills and twists as a 12-year-old boy is thrilled that he'll get to play endless games at his family's arcade, but soon realizes he's in the fight of his life when he's forced to save himself and his possessed uncle from a sinister video game. This one could be really fun if we somehow find ourselves inside the video game. I think that'd be really cool. Like, what would that look like for a writer to take us there? Soon the killer makes the jump into his uncle's body, and it's up to Danny to figure out a way to stop him for good. All right, well, good luck, Danny. Vampires, yes. Okay, so the last one here is The Good Vampire's Guide to Blood and Boyfriends. This one sounds like it's gonna be very funny in tone. Hopefully lots of camp. I love that stuff. This one is described as Heartstopper meets Buffy in this queer paranormal rom-com where a college sophomore must survive becoming a vampire. and the cute boy who discovers his secret. Adorable, we love it. A tale as old as time. The main character has to really figure out, like, how do I balance humanity with my bloodthirsty tendencies as this like new vampire? And I think it's very fitting that this book is also set at a college with a college student. It's a really weird time in your life where you don't feel like you're a child anymore, but you're also not fully an independent adult in your college situation. So yeah, you're definitely like in this limbo space. It's very liminal. And I think the whole like vampire journey is definitely echoing that same very like universal experience for folks who've gone to college. Somehow this already has like 90 reviews and a 4.23 star rating on Goodreads. Like, people are reading their arcs and they are reviewing. We love to see it, it's helpful. One of the reviewers wrote that it is a sweet, lighthearted, and funny book. And that's actually like a repeat pattern with the reviews. So this one sounds like it's gonna be great when I want something heartwarming and sweet, but also spooky. Those are my 13 highly anticipated spooky book releases coming out this summer, but I'd love to know, what did I miss? What are you looking forward to? Let me know down below in the comments. I hope you had a lot of new books added to your Summerween TBR. I'm sorry, but I'm also not sorry. But thank you for watching. I will see you all in my next video. Bye.